All right, so guess what? This lecture will be for week 13 and 14. That's why it's going to be a little bit longer, but that's okay, I think. You may not, sorry about that. Thank you, YouTube, for letting me post longer videos. Okay, so here's what I want to do first is I want to look ahead. Okay, I want to look ahead. So when I say look ahead, I mean this. Looking at the calendar for our course. Here we are in November, right? And by the way, on the 26th, there's nothing due because Thanksgiving, yeah. And so, sorry to tell you, all the stuff that's due is just due the following Monday night, but okay. The other thing is, one of the online students asked me, she said, Rio, is work decreasing around the 1st of December? And I'm like, yeah, they actually plan it that way. You'll notice starting in December 3rd, only one item here, so your lab tests and everything else. But really what I want to do is talk to you and put this in your notes about the last thing due in our class, which is December 14th. So December 14th is your My IT Lab final. And let me rephrase that. It's the chapter final, but in this case you've been taking your chapter quizzes in Blackboard, right? So the final for the chapters will be out of My IT Lab. Okay? So I'll make it available probably like a week, maybe 2 before the end of the semester. You'll have 3 attempts at it. It's 150 questions. Randomly selected from all the chapters that you've done. Okay, now, from the chapter quizzes. Not from the Word, Excel, any of that. That's why, by the way, I've been trying to say, you know, those chapter quizzes are good to take multiple times. You know those questions. So when is this due? It's due at midnight on the 14th, okay? So because it's in My IT Lab, will it show up in Blackboard immediately? No. So here's kind of what I want to walk you through with this, is that here's what will happen. So the final will be due, and put this in your notes, on Monday, December 14th. Okay? And it is in My IT Lab. And so really the other thing that says, if you've asked or you've wondered, it's also going to be the last day to request late work from me. Okay? People have been asking me, what's the last date? And I'm like, you have until the end of the semester, so that's the last day you can ask me. Now, by the way, I don't recommend waiting until this date to ask me, okay? For various reasons, in addition to the fact that most of you will have a lot thrown at you towards those last couple weeks of the semester, okay? So here's what I do. So what I will do is I will wake up Tuesday morning, December 15th, and I will post whatever you got on the final into Blackboard, okay? And you will have what's called a review day. So review day, so Monday night at midnight, which really, I mean, I don't like to say this, but it's true. You have until Tuesday morning, right? You all know this by now with me. It's not as if that's going to go away. But that 150 randomly selected 3 attempts for the final will be available until I wake up Tuesday morning. So on December 15th, you have a review day. And the reason I do a review day is that because this is at midnight on a day that we're not necessarily together, and the online students, I want you to have a day to look at your grade. But I want to be clear about this. There's no work that will be done at this point on Tuesday. All the work that you need to have done, you will need to have done before this date. The whole reason for the review date, and put this in your notes, is because your grade is your responsibility. And I say that for the following reason. We have had quite a few items. As a matter of fact, anybody know how many items total this class has? 61. So there could be stuff that maybe you submitted, you didn't ask me to take a look at, whatever it is. But I wouldn't also wait until this date, but this will be the last time you can do that. Okay? So on Wednesday, December 16th, I will wake up and post grades into WebAdvisor. You all don't see them, I think, until the week after the end of the semester, but that's the way that will happen. Okay? So what happens if you email me Wednesday afternoon and go, oh my God, Rio, I forgot to tell you something? What am I going to say? What? no, I'm not going to be that rude, but I mean in a sense, right? Because I've been telling you, right? So then the reason I do this too is I've actually had that happen to me, where I've had students email me after I've told them here's the dates, and they're like, oh, I forgot about this. And I'm like, doesn't matter, I already told you. Okay? Everybody clear on that? All right, got it in your notes? All right. So last date to ask me for a late grade is when? Final will be available approximately 1 to 2 weeks before it's due. How many attempts do you have at it? 3. How many questions is it? 150? From all the chapter quizzes. Now, anybody remember that My Grade spreadsheet? That will we revisit in week 17, and here's why. Because at that point, I will want you to have made a decision for yourselves and just to understand. And so what I've done is I've taken that spreadsheet and I've just placed some numbers in it. This is nobody's grade in particular. And everything has been posted except what? Can you see it? Okay. And by the way, can you see up here it says how much of the course has been complete? 95. Now what does that tell you how much the final is worth? 5%. By the way, is that a big number in our class? Actually not. Because here's the thing. Remember, how many items total? 61. And the other thing is, if you remember on the syllabus, but if not, you can take a look at it here and just show the very good job. So you can see how much each of these are worth. It's really the My IT Lab is the biggest number, the hands-on is next, and the classwork is after that. Okay? So at this point, having everything else graded, can you make a decision about the final? Yeah. Now, by the way, I can't officially say this, but I am not officially saying it. Okay, I know that makes sense. But in this case, so in this case, is this the grade that represents the final grade for the student? No, because they haven't taken the final. So how would, if I said, you know what, because it's a solid what right now? Solid B. So how would I simulate in the My Grade spreadsheet not taking the final? At a 0. And what's that going to do to the grade? It's still a B. Now, do pluses and minuses count at community college? No. Okay? So why is this important? Is for you to have knowledge about how you want to end up in this class. Which, by the way, in this scenario, could the student still get an A? How would they do it? No. Okay, let's do that. So let's go down and say, let's say you made 100%. Did that get you to an A? Can you get to an A in this scenario? By what? Yeah, turning in late work. Let's just say 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%. Now, by the way, that's quite a bit of late work, right? Okay? Now, look at this. Oh, I said 10. So in this scenario, now again, this is just a made-up scenario I did based on a spreadsheet. This is going to be different for you than it is for this scenario. But the truth is, all these factors are the same, right? Is that you can make that decision based on how you want to end up in this class. This is how I'm different than other instructors. I want you to have knowledge about how you want to end before we're there, so you can plan accordingly. Make sense? So what would you put in your notes about this topic? Huh? Pay attention to your grade. By the way, if it was me, I would kind of keep this going just to have it in front of me, to know where I'm at, to know what kind of late work I might want to do. Any questions about that? So in your notes, we'll revisit that in week 17. That'll be part of your classwork for week 17. Okay? All right. Unless there's no other questions, let me go on to one other topic before we get into today's required material. So remember me talking about when I talked about my home network and then I was going to buy a new device? Yeah? I did. I bought it. And so here was my bandwidth of my Wi-Fi on my MacBook Pro from my room relative to my hub or my router. It was 31 megabits, 32 megabits per second. Guess how much it went up? And it did. 91. The device, again, I'm not plugging you to buy anything. I'm just telling you that many people don't realize the bottleneck in their homes is the Wi-Fi. So this got me back to what I would refer to as a wired speed equivalent, right? Remember me talking about how when you're wired, that's the fastest you'll get based on whatever bandwidth you have coming into your house? I don't know if you remember me saying that. If you want, refer back to me that. But in this case, the router makes a huge difference. Now, by the way, sadly, the day after I bought it, Google released a different product. So aggravating, right? So I bought the TP-Link, which is just a manufacturer. They came out with a Hassoun model that has even better Wi-Fi. Seriously, the day after I bought it. I so want to return it to Amazon and go, yo, want the different one, but I'm so happy with this, I don't think I can let it go. I think it's $20 more. This one was, the one I got, the on-hub was $200. But when I think about how much I pay for internet in my house, that means I'm getting more utilization of what I'm already paying for. And to me, that was worth it, right? That was a good decision for me. Yeah. No, I never, I think what you're asking me is like sometimes you can buy a device from your ISP. I never buy those devices. I always buy my own because they overcharge you, and over time you pay more than you would if you go get your own device generally. So the online students didn't hear that. You're asking me, how many of you have a device that you know you got from the ISP? Yeah, so I think you pay too much for those. And they don't give you the best performance often. But, you know, I don't know. I can't speak because I haven't bought one. I haven't had one of theirs in so long I couldn't tell you. But I wouldn't do it. I personally wouldn't do it. Okay, any questions about this? Oh, God, yes. Not only that, I've been testing it throughout the day as more people in my house are on it, and I'm still getting those kinds of speeds. The other thing is it's got a great app. I should show it, actually. So the app, let me see, I think it's right here. The app is awesome. Yeah, here it is. So the app allows me to, at any time, see how many devices are on my network, what kind of speeds they're getting. I love that. I mean, I was like, it was just like, oh, I love you already. I love you already. You're just so cool. So it was very cool. I definitely recommend if you're looking to increase your network speed. Okay? Any other questions? Yeah, any other questions? All right. So let's talk about our topic of the day, which is programming, right? So we have been doing programming. You all have been doing, and by the way, I should have fixed this. It's HTML plus CSS plus JavaScript means a web page. Which, by the way, anybody remember what plus plus means? There's actually a JavaScript. It's an incrementer. It adds one to one. So anyway, it was just a syntax issue on my writing. So what you've been learning is what we call an interpreted language. You've been learning JavaScript, and I told you all last week why JavaScript. I love it just because when you learn it, it really does have many applications, and it gives you this idea of a programming experience, right? But here's the thing: is this class requires also that you get exposed to Visual Basic. Anybody remember who created Basic? Bill Gates. Bill Gates created Basic. So Visual Basic is a descendant of what Bill Gates originally created, and it still is used today. But I just have to say this because I'm a little snarky. Okay? Here's just a list of the most popular programming languages. Do you see Visual Basic on there? No. The hardest one is probably C or C++. Python, R is a new one. MATLAB, not that hard. Any of the C-based languages require a little bit more. As a matter of fact, a couple students actually accidentally did the introduction to Java versus JavaScript. There's a difference. So put this in your notes. Java is a different language than JavaScript, okay? So JavaScript is an easier language to actually wrap your head around than Java. JavaScript is a good introductory language to start with. Which, by the way, a year from now, I'm actually teaching JavaScript for the first time as a full course. And next semester, if you wanted to take your web experience further, we're teaching creating websites in this room, I think on the 2 days a week. But it's a good class. I'm going to set in. I used to teach it, but another instructor wanted it. So my point is a little snarky, but is Visual Basic as popular? Then you might ask, then why are we teaching it? Anybody wonder? Why do we have to teach it? We actually have to teach it. Because some of the schools that this class transfers to want you all to have exposure to it. Okay? Okay, so that's why. All right, So what you're going to need to do, here's the deal. In order for you to do, and by the way, this is now where we're starting to talk about week 14. So week 14, you're actually going to do a program in Visual Basic. Okay, so next week 14, well 13, then the week after, I won't have a lecture. This will serve as that lecture. Okay, so what you have to do, for you all in here, it's going to be easy, because you're going to have Visual Studio on these computers. It's a little more challenging for the students that either want to do it at home or for all those wonderful online students, okay? So Visual Studio IDE, here's the actual link I will provide you in the assignment for this. But be very, very, and please put this in your notes, if for some reason you want to download it, okay? You need to, and if you're at home, make sure, let me actually make sure as I'm doing it. Visual Studio 20. There it is. This one right here. Make sure you only do the Express 2015 desktop. The reason is that these other ones, the code I'm about to show you, the way this thing works today, is going to look very different if you don't download the right one. Now, for those of you in this lab, again, I suspect most of you will use the lab to do this assignment. You're going to use Express 2012 desktop, but it's almost identical in the way we're going to use it, because this IDE, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute, it does so much. You're going to use like 0.5% of it to do this assignment, but it does so much. Okay, so what version would you have to download? Yeah, Express 2015. Now, here's the thing. It only runs on Windows. Okay? Yeah, so what do you do if you have a Mac? So, and before I do that, let me just say to the online students, you guys can come into the lab as well, right? So we generally have an open lab on a Monday and a Wednesday, on a Tuesday. So Monday and Tuesday. So if online students want to know more specifics on that, let me know. They can come into the lab if you don't want to do this. But this also gave me an opportunity to talk about something that I've been wanting to do anyway. So anybody remember me talking about a program called VirtualBox? So VirtualBox is got it down there. VirtualBox is a free software that allows, so it's a software that allows you to run a different operating system on top of your existing operating system. Somebody's phone's going crazy. Huh? Actually, no, these in here, good question. These in here are running what we call boot camp. And last week or the week before, I actually ended up reaching into a Windows station from my Mac through something called Remote Desktop. This is actually running it on my computer. Okay, so VirtualBox free. Also, Windows 10, free to you. Do what? Anybody remember the program I told you about? DreamSpark. You all got an email for it. So what I did is I decided to do this myself. So what I did is I downloaded this software into my Mac. And then I went through and I set it up for Windows 10. And it was pretty easy. But before I show you, this is my USB today. I actually have it. And this is the file. Let's see if you can see it. What kind of file extension is that? Can you see it? Anybody heard of an ISO? So put it in your notes. So in this case, if you were to download Windows 10 or any operating system from the DreamSpark program, you would get an image file. Basically, it's one file that represents what would go on an entire CD or DVD. So if you wanted to reload your computer with Windows 7, Windows 8, or Windows 10, and by the way, if you were going to reload your computer, I'd recommend Windows 10. I've spent now 2 days with it, and I actually really like it. And I'm not a big Windows fan, as you know. But this actually kind of converted me a little bit. So what I did is I downloaded that. I put it on my USB. Let me get rid of this too, so I can see this. And I want to show you this. I'm going to actually show you this running and how it does it. So I'm going to actually go into here. Oh, let me scoot back a little more. And I'm going to start VirtualBox. Okay. So this is actually the program when it comes up. And what you do is you just do a new. And all I did is I did new, and I followed the defaults one after the other. And there was one step that was asking me for this virtual hard drive, and I was like, what are you asking me for? Guess where I went and found what it was asking me for? YouTube. Because it would have taken me 20 minutes to read the docs, where I could have just went to YouTube. Within a couple minutes, I knew what it was asking me for, and all it was asking me for was that ISO file. So I took the defaults, and now all I have to do is click on this and hit start. So what it's going to do right now, and it's going to start up here in just a second. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and switch. This is going to start VirtualBox, the software, and within VirtualBox, it is actually going to start Windows 10. Okay, I'm taking a few minutes here. This happened to me yesterday. We had a little funky thing happen when it was starting up, and it was like, what? It was worrying me because I'm like, oh, are you working or what? Okay. Oh, it did it again. Here, let me, sorry. You know, I love it when things work. You ever like that? When you're like, I love it when things work. Let me power that off. Yeah, actually it is really not fun when it doesn't work. So let me try this one more time. Let me see if I already had it running. I didn't. So I'm going to run VirtualBox. Yesterday it took me, it's so funny, I run everything before the start of the class and it works great. And as soon as you all are in here, it's like some kind of weird thing that happens. I don't know what it is. So let me go ahead and try this one more time. Actually, I think I'm going to do this. And I'm going to say switch. Okay. Oh, wow. Why? Oh, this would be a bummer. Let me try this again. Okay, switch. Okay, virtual machine, that's okay. Let's see if it does it now. Let's see if it starts it up. Okay, so what it's gonna do, oh, Rio. So this is the Windows 10. So this is Windows 10 running natively in a part of my Mac, right? So why am I showing you this? Let's just, in our notes, why am I showing you this VirtualBox? Yeah, so students that might have Macs, and really it's just good for you to know, right? It's good for you to know you can do this kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and hit, right, I'm going to log in. So that actually started Windows 10 virtualized in my local system. So now I have a part of my computer running a different OS than my native computer is running, okay? So here's what I did is I went ahead and installed that, and then I installed the Visual Basic Express. Can you see it? It's harder for them to see it here, but here it is, right? So by the way, guess how long it took me to download the Visual Basic Express? No, more than that, like 20 minutes. It's 8 gig. It should have been much faster, but 8 gig's pretty large, okay? All right, so here's what I want you to know. This is what we call an integrated, so put this in your notes, an integrated IDE, an integrated development environment, okay? An integrated development environment. So if you were a professional programmer, this is the kind of environment you would be doing to create programs that are probably commercially or stuff that you're creating for yourselves. The stuff that you all have been doing is kind of baby steps. An IDE is an integrated development environment, okay? An IDE. So this is Visual Studio, all right? So I'm going to show you first what it is that you're going to create, and then I'm going to show you kind of the steps to create it, okay? So first I'm going to open up a program I created called Payroll, and that's what you all are going to create, a payroll program. I'm going to go ahead and open it. It's going to open up the solution. This is the output that you'll end up doing. So here we have. So when you all were doing HTML and CSS, right, and JavaScript, basically what you were doing is creating a web page. The difference is here you're creating a window. So just like when you open up Word, you open up Excel, you open up anything, it's just a window on your Windows computer. So this is basically just a window of what we call a form, okay? So in this case, what I'm going to do is show you in a minute how to navigate and use this thing. But what I want to do is run the thing so you can see what it's going to do, okay? So I'm going to do this start. And I want you to watch what happens down in this area, okay? So I'm going to hit start. And what start's going to do, it's going to take all the stuff that I've done and it's going to build my output. Pretty quick, right? By the way, I'm going to drop the IDE, and this is the program. This is the program that you are going to build for week 14. It's a payroll program. So in this case, hours worked, right? 40 hours, let's say. Pay rate, I don't know, $10 an hour. So in this case, how do I, and I suspect you already know, how do I make it run? Show me the money. So that's a button. So this is what we call an event-driven program, okay? So as soon as I click show me the money, can you see what it did? It calculated regular pay equals $400. Makes sense, right? Hours worked times pay rate. Make sense? Now, by the way, because I'm running the program right now, I cannot, let me show you this. I cannot do anything in the IDE because the IDE is suspended. It's saying, hey, you're running the program, I can't let you do anything. So I have to do this. I have to go over here and I have to close the program, and then it takes me back to the IDE. And by the way, here was the output of the build, just the messages, what it did, okay? Now, let's run it again. This time, let's do something that actually does happen, right? Let's say, what happened? Oh, sorry, my bad. What happened there? I minimized my Windows 10, didn't I? There it is. Woo! You know, this is the downsides of running 2 operating systems. It's like, which one am I in, right? So let's do this again, because do you get overtime pay? Yeah, I've actually accommodated that in my algorithm. So let's say 45 hours, still at $10 an hour. Now, how much would the pay be? You can figure it out, but in this case, my program, not only does it calculate the regular pay, but it also calculates like overtime pay to do $6.25. Okay? No, not too bad, right? So this is called a form. This is called an event-driven program. What I wrote is code. So now I'm going to show you all that. So, but this is what you're going to do for what week? Week 14. All right, so put that in your notes. You're going to build a payroll program. And I'm going to show you today, and I'm going to give you a couple other videos another instructor in our department created to help you walk through the same thing. So it's not like you have to know this code, without learning anything about Visual Basic, because we'll give you the code. It's more about learning what? The IDE. So really this is about learning the environment itself. So what do I have to do to get back into the environment right now? Yeah, I gotta close this. And if you're working in lab, what version are you gonna work on? I'm in the 2015, you're gonna work in the 2012, but it's basically the same, okay? Which, by the way, before I get out of here, I bet you can figure this out. Where do you think the code would go? Oh, I like the way you're thinking. But remember, it's an event-driven, right? So what is the event that you do? What you click on what? Yeah, show me the money. So what do you think if I'm in the IDE and I double-click, what do you think it's going to do? There's the code. There's the actual code that runs. Okay, that's cool, right? Which, by the way, let me show you too. Notice up here at the top, and it's a little easier for you all, maybe the online students. Can you see this tab says Form 1 VB? I bet you know what VB stands for, right? Visual Basic. So this is the code. Yeah, what's this one? The design, right? So this is the code, and how did I get there? By double clicking on this, because the reason the code is on the button is why? Event. Put that in your notes. Event-driven action, right? So you do something and then some code runs. You click on something, something runs. Okay, let me show you how we put it. Huh? That's right. You push the ball, it rolls. That's very good. Very good analogy. So now you want me to show you how I built it? Any questions about it? Is it a complicated program? Is it one I'm going to make $100,000 on? No. Okay. Even if it was in JavaScript and HTML and CSS, it's a very simple program. That's not the idea. The idea is to learn some of the concepts. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to close this out. I'm going to hit, actually, I'm just going to hit exit and get all the way out. And start this from the beginning. Okay. So I'm going to start Visual Studio. And in this time, instead of opening one, I'm going to do a new one. So I'm going to do new project, okay? So if you want, the better your notes are, the less you're going to have to watch my video next week to do it, so it's up to you, okay? So I'm going to start project. Now, here's the other thing that's really cool about Visual Studio, is that not only can you write Visual Basic programs, you can also write some of those other really popular programs using the languages that I talked about before. So notice how up here, right? It says, hey, are you, and it knows I'm going to use Visual Basic because I've already done something. But it can also do C+, C Sharp, C++, other kinds of languages are also available. Then within each one of them, you have different types of apps that you can build. So anybody remember me telling you what kind of app we were going to build within Visual Studio? Windows Form application. Okay, so first I did new, I did Visual Basic, and then I clicked on Windows Form application. Really, really important right here. Couple things we're going to change. One thing you need to pay attention to. There's the name, there's the location, and then there's the solution. Okay? So the name defaults to here, and I'm going to have you change it to something like this. Let me do this to where you can see it. So the name, I want you to put your initials, like I'm going to do RW. I've already done one, so I have to name it a little different. Payroll. Okay? I'm going to call it version 1. You don't have to. The reason I'm having to do V1 is because I already did one. Okay? And here's the other thing. See where it's going, right? It's going to go into my users, my username, documents, Visual Studio projects. So when you're doing it, pay attention to what? Where it's being built. Because when you finish this, I'm going to show you how you're going to submit it, and this will become important. Right. By the way, did anybody notice the solution name also named relative to that? Yeah, it followed it, right? All right. So what are the things you do? You select here. You select New Project, Visual Studio, Windows Form App, change the name, pay attention to the location, click OK. All right, so now what it's going to do is create just a basic blank, not a basic, but a blank form, a template based on what I asked for. Okay? So this kind of looks like what we had before, right? Except it doesn't have any of the styling done. It doesn't have any of this stuff done to it. So I'm going to walk you through this. And here's where, if you were doing HTML and CSS, you'd have to code up the page, like the H1s and the bodies and all that. You don't have to do that here. This is what we call, and put this in your notes, a visual programming environment. Now, it's only visual for the first part. It's only visual for the first part. Once we build the visual, and by the way, this visual thing we're building is called a user interface, a UI. Put that also in your notes, because by the way, these days, being a good user interface builder or user experience builder is becoming a really important job in technology. Okay? Yeah, so well, think about your experience with a Google product that you like. Like my experience on OnHub, that app just was lovely to me. My experience was like, I was happy to use it. But you ever had an app where you picked it up, you're like, oh, I hate this app, but I have to use it? That's a bad user experience. A user interface was like, eh. So, but in this case, we're going to build an interface, right? All right, so here's a couple things you want to make sure when you set up this. It may look like this. It may not have any of these. And you're going to be going, where do I get started? So there's two things you need to make sure you see. One is a toolbox, and the other one is properties. Okay, so let me show you how to look for those. You go to Project. Sorry, go to View. My bad. So if it looks just like this, you're going to go to View, right? And you see Toolbox, right? And here, I'm going to go ahead and do, and you can auto-hide it, or you can just leave it out like this, and I like to leave it out. If it doesn't stay out, then you'll have to pin it out. View, and then Toolbox. And then within Toolbox, it may not be looking like this. You want a down arrow on Common Controls. So common controls are the most common things that you put on a Windows Form program. Okay? So the other window you want to have open is the properties over here. So we're going to go to View, we're going to go down to the very bottom, and we're going to go to Properties. This is all that you need to create what we need, okay? So you want to have the properties over here, you want to have the common controls over here, and now we just build it. So that very thing at the top, the name of the program, was just basically a label. Not basically, it is called a label. So all I'm going to do is click on it, I'm going to drag it over to here, which by the way, do you notice what happened to my cursor? What did my cursor do? Yeah, so it changed, it's context sensitive, meaning it says, oh, I know what you want to do based on what you selected, so I'm just going to click, and then it's just going to add this label 1, okay? So now over here on properties, because I like it and it can do it, I'm going to go over here and there's going to be text. So whatever that text is over here, it's called label 1. I'm going to change it to, anybody remember what my other one was called? Payroll, or my payroll program. This is where I want you to have a little fun and come up with some of your own stuff, right? Show me the money program. I don't care, right? Have fun with it. So when I hit enter there, notice what it did is it changed that, okay? Now, the other thing I can do here under font is I can also change the size because that's pretty small, right? So let me make it like 15, not 150, that'd be really big, right? So like 15. So I want you to give it your own label names that you want, and also you can change the color here. You can make the foreground color, you can create an image if you want. I want you to do a little work just making this your own and making it a little more fun, okay? When I say in a minute unique, this is what I mean. All right, so now I have a label. So what else do I need? I need another label that was, anybody remember what was over there? Yeah, hours worked. And actually I'm going to need another label. Pay rate. By the way, can you see what's happening as I move this around? Yeah, so it's actually trying to help me line things up to make them look nice. Okay, it's called a grid line. And it snaps to the grid. All right, it's good to know those terms. Okay, so now I've got two labels, and what would I probably do to those labels over here? What would I look for? Yeah, so in this case, where it says label, this is what the user sees, right? So this would be hours, and this, actually, my bad. Actually, that's what I was about to show you. Let me go back up. It's actually at the top. Let me go. Yeah, so right here, see where it says text? This would be hours. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on that, okay? So when you're changing what the user sees, you're changing the text. Now, when you change what the program sees, you're changing the name. Anybody remember in Visual Basic or in JavaScript when they taught you about variables? Yeah, so this is basically creating a variable that you can use, the name you want. So the name is what the program sees, the text is what the user sees. So put that in your notes, right? Again, the better your notes are here, the less you're going to have to refer back to my video, but if you like watching my videos, cool, okay? So the text is what the user sees, the name is what the system sees, and what we use to program it in, okay? Which, by the way, should I make that a little bigger? Yeah, right? So anybody remember where I do that? Up here where it says font, okay? So I could go play with that. I could make it like maybe 10, exactly. Because I probably wouldn't make it as big as my first, yeah, right, okay? All right, so let's make this one what? Let's make it, yeah, I'm going to change the name. I just got to first find it wherever it's at. Did I? Oh, there it is, right there. Good job. See, this is actually why coding together helps, because somebody else may see what you don't. So this would be pay rate, okay? So now, by the way, in addition to that, right, so there we go. So by the way, I actually made a mistake here, too. I do need to increase the font. But in this case, remember me telling you the difference between the text and the name? What was it? Look back at your notes. Text is a user. Yeah, name is what the program sees. Name is what we code. Now in this case, are we going to do any coding based on the labels? No, that was my mistake. So now let's do the other required thing, which is a text box. Okay? Yeah, so right here, text box. See this? So this would be the text box. Now, do I have to create any label for that? No, because that is the label for it. This is what the system sees. And what am I going to do? I'm going to go down here. Actually, I got to first fix this. I got to fix this one because this is not name. It is not ours. Okay? This is label 1. Right? Oh, is it label? Okay. Let's go. Was it? Oh, okay, good. Very nice. Good programming skills already right here. Okay? All right, so this one is not going to be text box 1. It's going to be called what? Hours. Because notice it's hours. This is the field where you enter how many hours you worked. And because I have to take the number that the user entered and multiply it out, this is, again, the name is what the what uses. The program, the text is what the user sees, right? You'll see this in a minute. So I'm going to do hours. Do I need another text box? Yeah. That's right. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to click there. Oh, didn't make it very big. I'm going to make it larger. By the way, again, those things are coming into play. So I'm going to come over here, and what's this one going to be? Pay rate. And by the way, when you're labeling these things, do not make spaces. You can make, and by the way, if I was doing strict programming practices, I would do what's called Camel Case here, where I would do, if it's 2 words, I do the first word start lowercase, second word uppercase. That's right. It's called Camel Case. Okay, it's a computer. It's a programming term. Okay, so now what else do I need? I need a button. So I'm going to come up here and get a button. Notice how my thing again changes. That's right. And that's also, what is the, now this is a user facing and also a program facing. So what do I need on that for the text? For the text on this one, I need a, actually in this case, the label is on the button itself. It's called button 1. What did I call it on my program? Show me the money, right? With me so far? Now, on here, right, if I scroll down to the name, it says button 1. What would I call that? Because this is, again, where the code's going to go. Calc, pay. How about something like that? Okay, calculate the pay. Moneymaker, there you go, right? Now, what am I missing? I've given a couple labels to my text fields, and I've given a button. What is the other thing my other program had? Good. The output, right? Where it told me the results. So in this case, there's many ways I could do it, but to keep it simple, I'm going to use another text box. So I'm going to go text box and put it underneath here, and I'm going to make it a little bigger. Cool, right? Now, in this case, again, is there a label for this? I could label it. I don't have to because it's going to be clear to the user what it is. But I do want to give it a different name. What would be a name that would be appropriate for what this is going to do? It's not text box. How about output? Okay? Because this is the output. All right, you with me? So this is the part that once you do this, I want you to make it your own. You can change the size of this thing, right? You can create whatever name you want, okay? And by the way, right, so you can change it. You can change the color. You can play with it. You can, instead of form 1, you can give it your own form name. But right now, I'm just going to start it, okay? Now, is it going to do anything? No. I'm just going to hit start. It's going to build it, which, by the way, there's actually a lot of code that you don't see, although I could show it to you. Not as important, that it builds, or that it already generates on its own to just give you this form, okay? Now, by the way, notice it's taking a little longer this time, right? Because the first time you build it, it has to set up all this stuff for you. Boom, we're done. Now, can I go to my interface here? Can I go back to my IDE? No, because I can't go to the IDE while I'm running the program or the form. Okay, 20, 10, and no money to show me because I haven't programmed anything in. That's right. Very nice. So I'm going to hit X and get out. And now we're actually going to do the coding. Now, here's what can happen when you're just playing around. If you accidentally do this, double click, what's it going to do? Well, it's going to drop you into the code view. Okay? So what this is just a subroutine. And it's saying, hey, when hours changed. Is this where I want my code? Let's go back and look. This is on this item. Is that where I want that code? No. I want it on the output, right? So can I just close this? Yeah. Now, very good. Not the design, but I can close this code because I'm not doing anything here. I'm going to go ahead and close it. Now, let's say I accidentally double-click on that. Now, Can you see it? Now I have two what? I have two subs. But I have no code in those subs. And those are subroutines. Those are just subroutines that run when somebody clicks in those areas, which, by the way, if I was really doing programming here, I probably would do some code to do what's called validation, right? Because can the user enter ABC? They could, but should they? No, and we should capture for that error. And if you were really doing programming at a higher end, you would do that. But in this case, you guys don't have to. Now, in both of these cases, do I need this in my code? No. Can I get rid of it? Can I leave it? Yes, but I'm anal when it comes to programming, so I'm going to get rid of it. You don't have to. It happens to you. I'm just anal like that. That's right. It takes away from what I want to focus on. Yeah, that's right. And remember when you're programming, one little thing, right? How many of you have wanted to beat the computer? One little thing, right? Okay. Welcome to programming is a exercise in preciseness. All right. So we're ready to code. We're ready to code. So where am I going to code? On the button, the output. Very nice. I'm going to double click in here, and here's where my code is going to go. Now, here's where your IDE is your friend. Because really what I want to do is I want to say output. Notice what happens as soon as I start typing, as long as, yeah, it knows. It says, hey, I think I know what you want. You want output, right? Now in this case I have to do output dot, and this is because it's object-oriented dot txt. Now this is only because that was a text box that I use for input. Okay? So what is text box is equal to what? Anybody remember? I get to start typing. Very good. Hours dot. Very good. But under hours I have to do again dot text. Okay? Times what? Pay rate. Very nice. Very nice. Well, CalPay was actually the button itself right here. See this? See CalPay click. So this is the event driven. So when you click this code runs. Oh, very nice. You're programmers already. You're checking my syntax. This is good. This is so good. Okay? Now, Visual Basic is different than JavaScript in the fact that you don't have to have semicolons at the end. Thank you, God. Okay? So, should we check the code? Yeah, right? So what do we do? Can I just run it from here? No, you doesn't matter. You can do it right from here. Okay, so let me hit start. Boom. Da-da-da. Exactly. Now let's type in some hours. Let's do 37. Okay, 38. You're doing really good. $20 an hour. Show me the money. It worked, right? Now, by the way, we could check it with the math. That's why it'd be easier to do this, right? 1 times 1 equals 1. Or 1 times 2 equals, sorry, your pay is so low. Okay, 2, right? So, but the idea is really because it's, right? No, everybody, minimum wage. Okay. So, how is this different than what I did, though? Is it different than what I did? What did I do? And by the way, I'm going to go ahead and drop out. I did make mine look nicer. And this is some of the ways I did it. Here, before it did hours, I did quotes and I said pay equals something like that. And then I did quotes. And then you have to do this thing, what's called concatenation. Put together, concatenate my text with that. Okay? So I'm going to say pay equals. Now, by the way, as I'm typing, did anybody notice what was happening? It was. Actually, it was doing that, and it was checking as soon as I type. Does Code Academy do that? No. And actually, if I was you doing Code Academy, I'd actually have an editor open and check it, because an editor would give me a better message than Code Academy would. But, you know, whatever. Okay, so in this case, well, what's the difference in the output, even before me running it? What's the difference with just this added code? Instead of just giving me the number, it's going to say pay equals. Okay, so let's run it and find out. Pay equals. So let's do 20. And by the way, I can do tab, I can do 10. And it should say pay equals. Yeah, very nice. I love the way you're thinking. How would I do that? Oh, very nice. I would. Well, remember, in this case, what did this was in concatenate, and could I just do this? Let me do it again. Oh, sorry. Did I start my program? Did I stop my program? I thought I did. Yeah. Actually, I did because I couldn't be in here and do this. So I'm going to do shift. Can I just do that? Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. Absolutely. You could. Ah. Let's try it. Let's try it, right? So in this case, let's do 10 and 5. $3, sorry. Right? Now you're thinking like a programmer, because now you're thinking about the user experience and just add things you can add to it. Now, at this point, what is different between my program and this? Oh, very good. It didn't say pay equals. And what else? Very important piece. I didn't do the overtime. Okay, I didn't do the overtime. That's for you to do. By the way, the video has the code on it. But do you want me to bring my other one up and show you? You want me to bring the other one up and show you the overtime? Okay, so let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to go ahead and exit out. And I'm actually going to show you an error code, and then we'll talk about how to submit, and we'll be done. Goes a little I know today's a little longer, but again, this will be 2 weeks of work that you'll get in here. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Version 1 is the one we just did. Yeah. Yeah, you can do whatever you want as long as you get by the way, you're going to see me say this in a minute. In order for to get full credit for this week, you have to have a working program. As long as it works and it looks unique to you, you will get credit for it. Week 14, sorry, thank you. This week you're just taking notes on this stuff. Okay? So again, where do I see the code I wrote for the payroll? Double click. Or I could do exactly what you said, right? So here is, what's the difference in my code here? Yeah. In addition, I also have a comment, and I want you to comment your code as well. Write something so that when somebody else, some other programmer looks at your code, they know what you did. So I'm going to, in this case, I'm saying if hourswork.text, which, by the way, the only reason this is different is that when I named my variables, right, I named them a little differently. When it's less than or equal to 40, then output.text. That's right. That's right. Else. So it's saying here's a condition. It's saying, and by the way, we call this, and put this in your notes, a control structure. So when you're programming, you're controlling things, the logic of the program, by doing a control structure. So I'm saying in this case, if it's less than 40, then calculate regular pay by taking my hourly pay times my pay rate. That's regular pay. Now in this case, else. When is it going to hit the else? When is it going to hit else? That's right. Ain't greater than 40, then it'll hit this code. By the way, when it is less than 40, this code does not get run. The else code. That's right. Well, actually, it just drops the if. It drops the end if. It says, okay, we're done. Good? So here's the text that I wrote. Output dot, and I actually, in this case, instead of just calling it output, I did output dot box. And why did I capitalize the B? Oh, very good. Camel Case. Camelback, I like it, but it's Camel Case. And the reason we do that is to name variables that make sense. By the way, they say that the joke is there's two hard things in programming: naming things and cache. Naming things and cache is just things that run that are on the computer that you can't remember were there. Okay. So you can write this code when you do your for week what? Week 14. Okay. Any other questions about this? Now, last thing I want to show you before we drop out and talk about how you submit is an actual error. So let's say in this case, I accidentally, when I was writing my code, forgot to put text. Can you already see what the program's doing? Yeah, the program, the IDE, the Visual Studio is saying, hey, That's not right, because when you set me up, you told me it was a text box, and now when you're referencing it, you're referencing something that's not a text. You're referencing something else. You're lying to me. So here's what's going to happen. If you, when you run your program and you leave these in here, you'll get this lovely little message. And you'll feel a little like you've seen some of this stuff. It's like, build errors, right? It's stuff when you're running JavaScript, it won't work, right? And by the way, you can spend hours. I have spent hours sometimes trying to find an error. Not this kind of simple code, but thousands of lines of code and trying to figure out an error. And we were talking about last night in JavaScript, different ways to try to catch errors and different conditions to do. So what do I do here? I went ahead and I didn't run it. And by the way, yeah, look at this, right? If you didn't see it, down here in the bottom, it shows you, right? Value of string, it needs to be converted. Yeah, even shows you the line number. It's trying to be your friend, right? Okay, what do you think? Hard? Yeah, why can't go to counter? Well, this is why if I was doing it, and I actually do it in an editor, because a code editor would actually give me the syntax errors that I have. Okay. All right, so by the way, I'm going to just do undo here, or I'm just going to actually go back in and type it in there, because it's dot what? And by the way, do you have to do capital T? Yes, it's because programming is an exercise in what? Preciseness. Okay. All right. So let's talk about how you submit this, okay? Let me go ahead and hit escape. Let me go switch. Oh, actually, that's what I wanted to show you before I leave this. Actually, anybody remember me telling you when I first created it, pay attention to what? Yeah, where you did it, okay? So let's actually go find it. Let's go find it. How on Windows 10, and it's true for most Windows versions. Oh, by the way. There we go. It's really fun when you're running two OSs to try to remember how do I get there, right? Yeah, so let me go here. Oh, I gotta go down here. There we go. I couldn't figure out why my little thing wasn't showing up. So I'm gonna go click and File Explorer. And under File Explorer, this should look familiar, right? Where is it? Yeah, but actually that's under Recent. How do I find it? I start, anybody remember? It was in Documents. Now yours, you'll have to pay attention to this when you create it. Visual Studio. Projects. You could, but you could. Now, which one am I going to do? Yeah, the payroll one. The one that's actually working. Payroll. Yeah, that's right. Well, V1 was working, but did V1 have all the requirements on it? No. Right, very nice. Sorry, I'm going to pull this down a little bit. Again, working with two OSs at one time sometimes is a little tricky. See what's happening? Is that my window? Ah, there we go. Whew. Couldn't see it. Okay, so I've navigated, but I need to go one more step, which is Object, and then Debug. Okay? So I went to the directory, I went to OBJ, and then I went to Debug. Okay? Now I'm going to show you why. Okay? I'm going to show you why right here. I'm going to look at this. I'm going to look at details. Because guess what? One of these is actually the output, the compiled object, because Visual Studio is a compiled language. It's a compiled object. Anybody guess which one of these it is? Any guesses? The one that says application. So guess what happens when I run it? It runs the actual program. Make sense? By the way, again, because you're not right. Exactly. Let's do this right here. So that's the actual, and so the way you know you've chosen the right file is it what? It runs the program that you created. And how do I know? I know by the name and by the type called application. Okay. So the type, when it calls application, the extension is called an exe. Is that a kind of a dangerous extension? Exe? Yeah, computers don't, and if I had you put this up on Blackboard, Blackboard would go crazy. Because I want this program in order to make sure it works. So here's what you have to do, and in your notes, once you get a working program. And again, we're talking about week 14 here. So how many of you have done right-click New, Let me pull this up so you can see the whole thing. I'm going to go right click, new. Ooh, I love this. Oh, down here. Compressed zip file. How many of you built a compressed zip file? Very cool. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to say something like my program. It doesn't matter. And by the way, you can tell I already did this before. Let me go ahead and delete that one so it's not there. So now the question is, how do I get that one into there? Yeah, that's exactly right. I just click, hold, and drag and drop. Now, you don't need, yeah, because by the way, did you notice when I clicked and dragged, what did it say? Copy. So by the way, now how can I confirm that I did it right? Double click, and there it is. So what are you going to submit to me? That file right there. In addition, go ahead. That's right. You're going to submit that file on the Blackboard. In addition, what I want is I want a print screen of your code. You know how I had the button code up? Take a print screen of the button code, upload it to the cloud, put it in your classwork for week 14. In addition, in Blackboard, give me the zip file. Cool? All right, let me show you the last part over here. Let me move to Windows real quick. Or sorry, move from Windows real quick back into my Mac real quick, into Blackboard. So in week 14, in classwork, in addition, in your classwork doc, you will give me a link to your what? No, in your Google Doc, what are you going to give me a link to? Your print screen of your code. Okay? Now, in week 14, you'll also give me your zip file, but you won't put that in your Google Doc. You'll use Browse My Computer. And you'll give me a what kind of file here? A compressed zip file. To get full credit for this assignment, and bring it back here, to get full credit for this assignment, you have to have a working program, and I have to be able to see your code. You have to have documented it, given it your own unique styles, meaning colors and variable names and all that, and it has to work, okay? So just to show you this in my document here, which by the way, I'm also going to give you a link to 2 videos where another instructor went more quickly than I did over how to create that output. So you don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't want to, but you can. So to submit 14, I already went over this, but it's just good. You name it, your payroll program, your initials, something like payroll. Okay? Make sure you pay attention to where the program gets, and it's not recreated, it's created on your local system. Once you've completed it, then take a print screen of your code on the what? Where do you find the code on the button? The button, okay? Upload that. Give me a link in, and actually this should be for week 14 because yesterday I lectured on this same thing in the Monday, Wednesday class and I realized it was too much to give you for 1 week. That's why next week you'll have the notes from today. And by the way, here's the other thing is I want you to also, you all probably the answer to this question is determine where you're going to do the work. Okay? Like all of you, where are you going to do this work? How many of you are going to do it here? Right? Anybody want to attempt it at home? Yeah, so if you want to attempt at home, cool, right? And if you're on a Mac, today I showed how to do it with what? VirtualBox, right? And if you're running Windows, you can download Windows, and when you're, be very careful about downloading what? The right version, right? Make sure you do Express 2015 desktop. If you do any of these others, the code I showed today, you'll be like, it's not there. Where is it? Okay? All right, did you learn something about IDEs and zip files and programming and variables? I hope you learned something. Yeah? Your brain hurts? That's okay. Next week, you'll be all coding after you do your notes. All right, by the way, week 14, week 15, 16, we only have 3 lectures after next week. Time is quickly approaching. Is it too late for those of you that aren't doing well to do well in this class? Is it too late? No. Is it going to be too late on December 15th? Yes. So don't wait that long, okay? All right. Peace out. Drop the recording.